Hello everybody, my name is Crystal, aka Crystal X on IMVU, and today I'll be doing a CBI tutorial on making jeans. We're going to just be using the basic seamless mesh, and I'm going to begin by opening up my outfit starter. I already prepared this one ahead of time. I'm going to start by using a pre-made opacity, just a basic one. And in case you don't have one, it's really easy to draw this one. Alright, just gonna go ahead and save this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and test this out. And please ignore any sounds here in the background. Alright, Pasty looks good to me, so now I'm just going to begin and choose the colors that I'm going to want for this. And I already have 21 of them already made. It's gonna cut out everything I don't need. Alright, just want to make a more traditional jean color. Alright, so to begin, I'm going to start on a new layer. Alright, I completely forgot about how temperamental TeamViewer is when it comes to GIMP, so I still have my new layer. I'm just gonna do it on top of there. Alright, so I'm gonna start by adding in my a diagonal line to fill this entire mesh. And it's a pattern. It's gonna go ahead and cut everything I don't need and place this in soft light mode. Just so you can get a general idea of what we're trying to do here. And don't worry, if you do not have this pattern, I will create one and place it in this layered format that you can take with you at the end of this. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is start a new group. Add a new layer to this. And I want to create some highlights and shadows for the pants. And to me, for beginners, the easiest way to do this to start for this area is to use a circle and to also use an airbrush because it's really soft, and to grab a really soft brush. If you have GIMP, it's easy to do. You just right click on any brush and you can go to new brush and it'll open up the brush editor, and from there you can tweak it and make it however you want. Since mine's already done, just gonna resize it and start using it. And for this one, I'm just creating the shadows for my pants. At least areas that I want to be dark and stand out. And I'm just gonna blur this edge to make it a little bit softer. And sometimes can't get it soft enough with by doing it by hand. I always go to filters, blur, Gaussian blur, and then I can get it soft all around. And please label as you go so you do not lose your layers. And save too. And what you do to one side, you can just duplicate and GIMP and horizontally flip flip it over to the next. And right now I'm just shading areas that I want shaded. Also, I like working with a skin layer because you can, and seamless meshes, because the skin works as a great guide. Along with wire guides too, I do have some. Usually I have some at the top and bottom, however, again, my GIMP is kind of not letting me switch layers. It happens in Photoshop too, whenever I have TeamViewer open. Well, TeamViewer and a recording program at the same time, so just gonna continue shadowing. Alright, gonna label this. Duplicate and flip. And save. I pretty much have my shadows done for my pants. I'm going to go ahead and do my highlights. And for that, I'm just going to switch from pure black to pure white. And I'm just going to highlight the areas that I want to be highlighted the most. I'm also going to get rid of this wire guide. I no longer need it. Usually when I switch from a light color, I actually like to use a dark color for the wire guide. Alright, so just gonna duplicate, flip this one over to next side, and get my highlights. And of course, you can do these all these individual highlights separately on separate layers. Of course, this is a tutorial, so I'm trying to do it as quick and accurate as possible, just to give it a general idea. So I am doing these all together, or all my shines on the same layer. And if you find it convenient, you can do it the same way I'm doing it too. Whatever works for you. I'm just gonna go back in here and shine around where I kind of want the knee to be. Duplicate and flip. And then back to my leg shines or highlights. And I actually need to label that. Alright, so let's see what we have so far. And I'm just going to take this whole layer group and place it in soft light mode. And I'm going to test this out right now. Just to see if my highlights are accurate. And my highlights look pretty good. They're actually showing up really nice in all the right areas. So we have a great base for our jeans. Alright, so let's add a few more details to it. Like, for one, these scan lines are a little bit too dark. We do need to soften them, so I'm going to lower the opacity on them. And show you how that looks. And yes, it will vary by color, because some colors you will need the scan lines to show up more, some less. Alright, and here's a great technique I learned for also adding that extra realistic jean look, or to get that denim look. What we're going to do is start a new layer. We're going to go to filters and we're going to go to noise. I actually stumbled upon this by accident when I was trying to make hair. and we're going to pick Hurl, and you're going to see little dots that look like Skittle Vomit. You're just going to repeat it a few times. It doesn't really matter the number. The more you repeat it, the more crazy colorful dots you'll get. And then you can mess with the randomization. It just changes the dots around, just however you like. This one really doesn't matter too much. And as you see, we got this crazy, ugly Skittle vomity thing. We're gonna go back to filters again. This time we're gonna go to blur and motion blur. And we're gonna change our angle to 90. And we're gonna leave our length at 5. Can you make it a little bit lower? Not 2, but like 3 or 4. In between there. And the next thing we're gonna do is go back to not filters. We're gonna go to colors, and we're gonna go to desaturate. What this does is, well, it takes away the saturation and the colors from it. And now you can choose one based on which one you like the most. I usually go for lumosity. And just gonna clean this up a bit now and get rid of everything we don't need. It's not gonna be on the jeans. And change the layer mode to soft light. And now we have that great jean texture, a realistic one that we made 100% on our own, not using like a instant. And you can lower the opacity if you want, if it looks too rough. Or if you want it to look rougher, you can duplicate it. What I'm going to do is go to brightness and contrast and play around with that, because you can also make it more or less rough as well, but more accurate without necessarily having to affect the opacity. And again, this is just based on preference. You need to make it brighter or darker. So let me go back to that setting really quick. So if you want them to be darker, like a overall darker effect, or lighter, without necessarily having to change your hue or your color, that's a great way to do it. Alright, so that was a nice little nifty trick. I'm gonna go ahead and label these. And I'm going to save and show you how it looks so far. Starting to look like jeans. Alright, but I'm going to switch my color over to the darker blue so it looks more traditional. And the dark blue will also look really good when we do our seams. Which is what we're going to do next. So for the seams, what I'm going to do is just create a new group. And a new layer within that group. And I did have a question that was asked. She was wondering how I got the colors to switch over to the pants. Well, I already have my colors pre-made, so basically all I have to do is just view it. So I just did that at the same time. So the next thing I'm gonna do is the seams. Alright, I'm gonna switch over to white, and I'm gonna switch to, I'm actually gonna keep my soft brush, but I'm just gonna switch to the pencil tool, and I'm gonna make it as small as possible, and GIMP that is size 1 or 1 pixel, and I'm just gonna change my spacing on it to 300, between 3 to 400. The reason why I do this is because now it gives me that little dotted effect. If you want more spacing, make it wider. Less spacing, lower the number. So, in this one, I will need that wire guide. And I'm just gonna, and I'm holding down the shift key to make my line straight, just in case anybody's wondering how am I making straight lines. And for, even though this is a seamless mesh, you cannot, duplicate this and flip it to the other side. At least not this part right here. You actually literally have to go in and draw it. So make sure you just make a new layer for that. Because this side and that one are not exactly equal. And that's just how the mesh comes out. Alright, so I'm gonna do the one that goes straight down the leg. And because I plan on actually having like a little belted area, I am gonna only do it about partially down the hip. Okay, so there we go, we have our seams. Now, we cannot leave it like this because it'll give us that god-awful glittery look instead of looking like seams. So, what we're gonna have to do is take our blur brush. I guess this one we actually do have to use the brush. We cannot use Gaussian blur. It gives a really weird look. And just use the shift key and go straight down, as if you're painting it. And it might help if I was actually on the right layer. Oh yeah, and also change your spacing for your brush back when you do this. Because I've done this 100 times, so I swear I always forget. See now how it looks softer? That's the effect that we want. Okay, so, and we're just gonna do this to this side as well. Alright, so let me go ahead and get rid of this line right there and show you how it looks. Not too bad, not too bad. Might want to move the right leg's seams over just a bit more. But I'm not gonna get too picky for this tutorial. But I just need to bring it in just a bit more for this mesh. And it really depends on the mesh you're using too. Alright, I'm gonna do the top seams for where I would like to have my belt, and then add some seams for the zipper area. And same exact same technique. We're just gonna use the pencil, really small brush, wide spacing, set mine at 300 before. I'm gonna keep it consistent. And on a new layer, I will go back and label. And of course, I am going to use the wire guide, because the skin will not accurately tell me where it's supposed to be. And I am almost done. New layer, really quick. Oops. I have no idea why I even tried to freehand that. And I'm not going to freehand that one either. Curves are not my thing. So that's why I use the path tool to make curves. And because I can stroke it with my brush of choice, brush or paint tool of choice, which in this case is my pencil. And I'm just gonna do the same technique I did before and just lower the spacing on this, increase the size, same brush, just blur it. For this one, I only have to tap it. For the band, I do need to actually like stroke it, but I'm just gonna do this one by hand. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of the wire guide. Might help if I didn't put the opacity there. And the rest of this is basically you can add pockets to this now. You can go in, add a belt. You can do belt loops if you want to. I just basically want to give you the general idea of how you would do a base for jeans and to get the seams to look realistic. In a more advanced tutorial, I would add wrinkles and maybe go in and shine it more in certain areas. But for this one, this is just your basics, and I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial, and I hope you learned some new techniques. If you did, go ahead and give me a shout out, and you can join my group, Club Bubblegum AP. Come meet me at my office, and you can also download this free from my group. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. Bye.